everybody. It's Michelle LaVore and
Devin LaVore coming at you together.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Oh,
So fun.
God's doing a thing. God's doing a thing.
Yes.
So we're doing a thing with him.
Yes. So we're both coming at you tonight, and I'm so glad to be here. And we do pray that you guys are encouraged by this word and, just glean from it all that you can. And also, huge thank you to everyone who gave to us to be able to just give our daughter a really cool birthday. She had a great day, and
she did. See, because not only do we, when we collect money, it's kind of like it goes into this pool. It's just one pool. And from that pool, everything has to be paid, right? Everything comes out of this. And so it was just really cool. We were able to take her to the boot farm, factory, barn, something like that. And she got some cool boots that she's been wanting. Really cool stuff. It wasn't like extravagant or anything like that, but it was like it was exactly what she was wanting. She loved it, and she was just like, oh man, she was just really blessed.
Yes. So huge thank you to you guys
very much.
And just big thank you.
We could have made a whole vlog on it, really, but it would have been kind of boring. Because it would have still been us just mostly here, you know. But anyway, huge thank you.
Yes. So if you would like to give or want to continue to give, we have a PayPal link, Cash App, and Venmo below, and you can click any of those there and give there, because we are support-based. But again, just we are so blessed by every single person who gave to us in the last few days. Yeah. I mean, just huge thank you.
It's been a blessing, yeah. So.
All right, you want to go?
Yeah, so tonight I just felt like the Lord gave me these 3 specific words that we're going to be giving throughout the next 3 days. And it's kind of in line with Memorial Weekend here in the United States. You know, we are remembering the soldiers who fought in wars for American freedom, right? And there is a lot that you can say about that and get really lost in political weeds and all that stuff, right? And so I was praying about it. I just felt like the Lord gave me this. He kind of gave me this word, but he said it 3 times. He was like, remember, remember, remember. I'm like, okay, like, what does that mean? And when you get words like that, particularly during Memorial Weekend, you begin, for me anyway, I'm like, is this me? Or is this the Lord? What's going on? It sounds like a good idea, but I don't know. What is it? But no, I just felt like it was the Lord. And the first thing he said to me was, remember what you've been through. You know, so there was just a sense of like, hey, remember everything you've gone through. Can you imagine David just sitting there in Ziklag, just like before he gets elevated to the throne, and he's just like, man, remember when I was in the cave, you know, and y'all 2 tried to make me kill Saul, man, didn't, but the Lord was like, no, we're not doing that. And y'all remember that? Yeah, that was some crazy time. That was a rough time though, you know what I'm saying? And that you can get into this place where you reminisce about things and you remember things that are both positive and negative, but you're not having a negative reaction to any of it. You're just like, wow, look at what God has brought me through. Look at what he's done. I remember when I was, you know, and you can kind of do that yourself.
Yeah. So
there's just a sense of like, the Lord's like, hey, I want you to remember what you've gone through. Remember what it was like for you. Take your own story with the Lord. And just sit with him for a little while and just remember what you've gone through and how you've gone through it. And you're still here. And it's like, look at what God has done. He's brought you through so many things and so much stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and it was interesting when Devin was sharing this morning this idea of remember what you've been through. And immediately I started thinking about the running races again, because it's like if you've gone through something that's 250 miles, crazy, and that it's like from some of the videos I've watched, they were talking about just they're coming to the end, but they might be already reflecting on the journey that they've been on to get to that place where it's like, I'm here, I've arrived, like the finish line is right there in front of me. And
like, is this real? Is this really happening?
Yeah, especially by that point, because you're probably so sleep deprived. You're probably thinking, is this real?
And so sore.
Yeah.
You can't even cry anymore because you don't got enough fluid in your system to get tears to produce.
Yeah, but it's just like that sense of remember how far God has brought us and taken us and led us through. And so really even this morning, a little bit during our God time, we're just talking about all that God's brought us through along this journey. And there have been some really amazing, exciting, refreshing moments with the Lord.
Yeah.
There have been many really low moments of just like, Lord, where are we going? But it's like, just in so many seasons, God takes us through so many seasons through this whole journey, and where he's, honing in on certain things, and then where he's just working certain aspects of our heart and life. But to be in this point now where it's kind of like, remember where you've been. And it's just like at the end of a race, just be thinking about like that journey and all that you've been through, and you're right here getting ready to cross this finish line. Yeah. And I think even the runners, they might be thinking about, wow, look at all this training, all this time I spent up to this race and now through this race, and I am here getting ready to finish. I am getting ready to go through and cross the tape and have the victory that I've been longing for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you tell in the last video that you did, that was yesterday, right?
Yes.
Did you talk about like how her feet were so sore and how she wouldn't have even finished had she known?
Oh,
Did you talk about that?
I got that after the video.
That needs to go right here. Go.
So, one of the videos I was watching, and she was running the Cocodona 250-mile race.
The Coconutties.
Yeah.
18 Coconutties.
And so, but for her on this race, her name's Sally. I forget her last name. But anyway, she was running, and pretty early on, she got blisters on her feet, which for her, she's like, I hardly ever get blisters like this. And so to get them so soon was not good. And she was in so much pain.
She was crying.
And she was breaking down, and her husband was just like, oh my gosh, if she's crying, like that's real pain, because she's the kind of person that just
she doesn't cry,
won't complain, and just could be suffering greatly but not saying anything. And but she just kept pressing on, kept going. And at the end of this video I was watching, she was, it's her running, but kind of her thoughts reflecting on the race after the race. And she said, if somebody had told me before I ran this race the amount of pain and what I would have to go through, she's like, I probably never would have gone. But I did go, and therefore I was going to finish. And we were talking about that, of just how like, wow, like, sometimes the Lord invites us into something, and he doesn't tell us what we're getting ready to go through, because the truth is, if we really knew the pain and the suffering and what we're actually going to have to walk through, we would probably not even go. But because we did go, and we've continued to press on, and we've continued to say, you know what, it doesn't matter what pain I'm in spirit, soul, body, any of that, is just like, I'm going forward with the Lord and he's there with me, it's like you can finish. You can see the end, and there's so much growth, tremendous growth through being able to overcome all of the suffering that comes. And it really kind of ties into the Romans, was at 5:3 that we read on yesterday's video. And what I thought was so amazing is, like, at the very end, she's explaining all of these, issues she had throughout the whole race. And she was like, this race was an overcoming race, like an overcomer's race. And that just really hit me, because I was like, Lord, that is exactly the wilderness, like what the wilderness race is. The wilderness is a time of overcoming. Jesus went into the wilderness to overcome the enemy. God sends us into the wilderness to overcome the enemy, but also the enemy, like things that are inside of us.
The enemy.
Yeah. Things that are inside of us that aren't in alignment with the Lord. Whether there's fear, doubt, anger, just desires, or all these different things that can come out of the flesh, because we're constantly at war. You got the spirit and you have the flesh. And it's like God has given us this time in the wilderness to draw close to him, to draw close to his spirit, while we're in this battle against the flesh. And God is continually exposing things of the flesh, like whether it's pride or anything that could come and hinder your relationship with the Lord. He's literally like, I want to drive out every little fox, because he doesn't want the love that he has with his people to be spoiled. And particularly when he's saying, I know where I'm getting ready to take you, and I want this time to have you go with me through something that I know is going to be very, very difficult. But if you stick with me, if you listen to me, if you continue to press forward, you will finish, and you will have the overcomers finishing. And I love that, because Revelation 3,
the crown,
2 and 3, they talk about the rewards for the overcomer.
Yeah.
And so it just really hit me last night. I was like, oh yeah, this is what we've been running. This, long distance race that God has had so many of his people in has been an overcoming race. And when we cross the finish line, that's when we are overcomers, and therefore we receive the celebration that is given for those who overcome and receive the rewards. And there are many rewards. You can actually read in Revelation all the different rewards that God gives, but he has just rewards for his people, things that he's probably, a lot of it is the promises. It's the seeing the very word that God has spoken come and be present in your life.
Yeah, and I think touching on what you're saying, like a perfect little segue there, wasn't it? Anyway, but it's like when you receive those rewards, it will incite memory of everything you've gone through. It's like, for me, people, a lot of times in my walk with the Lord, people are like, man, you know the Bible so well, you've got like this great memory. And it's like, well, I do have a good memory, but I'm not just sitting there memorizing scripture. Everything that I remember is a relationship memorial stone between me and the Lord, and something he was doing in my life. That's why I remember it. So I think all the rewards, all the stuff, it's like, something you were saying that was triggering this idea. I was like, as you go, God sets a joy before you. And I think in the beginning, that joy that he sets before you is why you go. But I think something happens along the way, if you keep going to the end, where that promise at the end, whatever it is, it's really not the ultimate joy you're looking for anymore. It becomes this thing that goes with the joy, who is the Lord.
Yes.
Your relationship with the Lord actually becomes the joy. And it's like, man, I want to get married one day, and I want to live in this big house, and I want to have these cars, and I want to have these horses in the stalls, and it's like, oh, that'd be so great. And then you're so focused on all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be married to that guy. But this cool stuff, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, as you begin to walk with the Lord, He comes and He promises you, hey, you'll get married to me, and you'll have the house and the stalls and and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, for us, you know, because the Lord came to us in January of 2017. He's like, what do you guys want? I was like, well, Lord, we want a house. We want to give our family a heritage. We want to be rooted somewhere and build a legacy. And like we you got to start with some sort of residence. Mm-hmm. You can't be living in apartments. You know, you're married, you have kids, you want to have an established place. And so we want a house, we want this. And the Lord's like, okay, cool, I got it. And then it was like, okay. And then we've been going on this journey. And so much of the journey has been about getting to that house, getting to that land, that promised land. But somewhere along the journey, there's just been this separation where it's been like the promise and the Lord. And then it's become like the promise and the Lord. You know, it's turned to the Lord and His promise. Mm-hmm. Not just the promise of the Lord. It's become the Lord and His promises. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's not like a divorce of anything that He's promised or anything like that, but it's like He does something along the journey that balances Him, and you're more like, Lord, if I just have You, I don't even care. That's where our daughter's gotten to that place where she's like, if I just have the Lord, that's all I need. Mm-hmm. I don't need a house. I don't need, you know, anything else but the Lord. Now we know that, okay, but we do have desires. Mm-hmm. We do have things that we need. You need money, for example, mm-hmm. to make, you know, to go buy stuff. But it's like, it's just not it's not in the same place that it was in the beginning. Mm-hmm. You know? So I would just encourage you guys to take time in your own life and just remember what you've gone through. Remember what God has brought you through. Remember all the ups and downs. Remember we could sit here and reminisce about some things, but we've just got like over 1,000 videos. How do you reminisce? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We just like, you just sit for hours and just talk about, oh, remember that time we were sitting in that hotel? We didn't have a place to go, but we didn't have money, and we had to check out. We're like, God's gonna have to provide right here today, right now, because we're just sitting here up here in the lobby with all of our stuff on the big cart, and we were there all day. Yeah. And then God sends someone through the front door. It's like, here you go. And it's like, and then we went on and we moved on. And there's just so many examples just like that. Yeah. The Lord moved us out of our place that we were in to go to this one hotel for one night. You know? Mm-hmm. And He's like, all right, now go back. Yeah. So many testimonies like that. That was a hiccup. A literal hiccup. That was a hiccup in the video. But yeah, I just feel like the Lord wants us to do that. He wants us to remember mm-hmm. what He's brought us through, and allow that to embiggen Him. Yeah. To magnify who He is mm-hmm. in our lives. Like, wow, look who God is. Look what He can do. Mm-hmm. You Amen. Know? So that's it for tonight. Yes. These next 3 videos are probably going to be a little longer than, you know, like your, you know, anywhere from 5 to 12 minute video. Because you put us together, man. It's tag team. You get double the time. You yes. know? Double the fun. Yes. You know, so. All right, well. Patent clothes coming yes. at you. No, well, we do pray that you guys are blessed by what the Lord is saying, and that you are just able to spend some time just remembering what God has brought you through and His heart for you. And until tomorrow, we will see you guys later. Yep, for part 2. Yay. Bye-bye.